Hey, everybody, this is Lieutenant Governor Jacqueline Coleman, and I'm so excited to be with you today as we read Rowdy Ringo and the Cowboys together. Morning crept across the horizon, slow but bright. The farm began awakening, shaking off the previous night. Days were warm, the grass was mostly green, robins were nesting, and the daffodils would soon be seen. Spring was in the air all across the farm. All was calm except Ringo, who was always causing alarm. A stout and brawny little calf with a black mustached nose, mischievous, cunning, and never far from where trouble arose. His days were filled with bottles of milk and plenty of hay, naps in the sunshine, and chasing chickens and kitties for play. He was king of his barnyard and jester to the court, playing tricks on his farmers as if it were a sport. It was evident he needed a friend, more like partners in crime. So his farmers brought home orphan calves one at a time. One by one, his posse of calves grew by the day. One calf, then two, and a third on the way. First, there was Curly to arrive on the farm, a black and white-faced calf with a similar mischievous charm. Ringo could not believe it. It was like looking in a mirror, down to his freckled mustache nose, and he too was a steer. The two were quick friends and trouble as a pair, playing silly tricks on their farmers without a single care. Soon the dynamic duo quickly grew to a third, when a solid black calf named Ike joined their herd. Unlike the others, Ike was quiet, calm, and sweet, giving kind little nuzzles to the farmers as a greet. But the chaos didn't stop with just those three. The farmers brought home a little twin calf, no bigger than a flea. Festus was a mostly all-black calf with a white freckled face, standing about knee-high, and the only brockle on the place. Their crew was complete, or so they thought, but the farmers had a surprise waiting in the lot. A little black calf laid in the grass, all tucked in tight, not making a move, thinking he was out of sight. The little fella had long, gangly legs and was fairly thin. The farmers knew right away that he too was a twin. Like all the rest, the farmers loaded him up and took a short ride in the back seat of the truck. Last to join the gang was the shy little fella who made no fuss. He fit right in with the rest, and the farmers named him Gus. They were quick learners and followed in steps of the master. Ringo taught them all he knew, creating a recipe for disaster. In no time at all, the gang was up to no good and would escape their pen as often as they could. Despite their best efforts, the farmers had all they could juggle. Just keeping 5 calves in was often a daily struggle. There wasn't a fence on the place tight enough to keep them in. They would stretch, wiggle, and crawl their way right out of their pen. Flower beds trampled and branches stripped clean, they would eat everything in sight, so long as it was green. After each new adventure, the farmers would set out to make a repair. But in no time at all, the calves were back out, much to the farmers' despair. Ringo was proud of his posse and the chaos that would ensue, delighted so much that he would let out a moo. Together, they were a band of misfits, ornery and looking for tricks to deploy. They were a unique sort of group, so their farmers called them the Cowboys. The Cowboys were trouble, and often a calamity, but these ornery little orphans were now a family. Together, they took adventures that were frequent and chaotic indeed. 5 mischievous cowboys bouncing through the yard with Ringo in the lead. So Ringo and his friends always have fun. That's part of what growing up is all about. Do you think Ringo and his friends would have fun with you? What do you think they are up to right now? If I was Ringo, I would gather all my friends, find the most remote part of the farm, and hang out there until the rest of the animals realized we were gone. To find out what happens to Ringo and his friends next, or really how much trouble they get into, listen to Education Commissioner Robbie Fletcher as he reads Barnstorming. I'm sure it's going to be a great adventure. Thank you for reading with me, and happy All In for Ag Education Week.